At the time, the building was only as high as the ledge that's just above them, so almost the entire building was underwater. After it survived the flood, they added the 4 more stories on top of it, but it just gives an idea of how high the water rose and how much damage we experienced. This is why they decided to build the flood channel and the gate. But we haven't had a flood like that since 1921, nor have we had any rain. Now on my right-hand side, we have the Aztec Theater. This was built in 1926 and is the last of the Mayan-themed theater palaces here in Texas. They used to play black and white silent films featuring a Wurlitzer pipe organ. And after restoration, we have the pipe organ, but we're playing Western movies in there. Also on my left-hand side is my favorite building out here in the Riverwalk. This is the beautiful La Mansión del Rio Hotel, which means mansion on the river. It was built in 1853 as the St. Mary's Academy for Boys. It then became the St. Mary's Law School. And when the law school outgrew this building, they moved west, and 2 other former law students purchased the building, remodeled it, and opened it as La Mansión del Rio in 1968. I would just love to stay at the very top there during the holidays when we have all of the lights out here on the river. Up there. That has to be a birthday present for myself. Now, as we continue to go along the river, we're going to see all kinds of neat plants and animals, fountains and waterfalls and beautiful buildings. But we are going to see one thing that's really neat, and it's unlike anything else here on the Riverwalk, and that is an optical illusion. That's right, when we come out from underneath the bridge, if everybody will look up as high as you can to my left-hand side, you're going to see one wall that looks like it's standing by itself. So as we come out, look up, up, up as high as you can to my left. That is the world's thinnest building. It was built for paper dolls in the 1930s. Looks like it was. That's our Nick's Hospital. It was built in 1930 in the shape of a trapezoid, so it stands on the banks of the river looking like one wall. The Nick's Hospital was the first full-service hospital where you could get anything from a Band-Aid to a major operation. Also the first fully air-conditioned hospital, and the birthplace of Miss Carol Burnett.
Very nice, huh?
Directly in front of us, we have our Hyatt Regency Hotel. This was built in 1981, and the height of this hotel was built specifically so that at no point during the day would it cast a shadow on the Alamo, which stands right on the other side of the hotel on the street level. Because of this, the lobby of the hotel is open to the public, and it's called the Shops del Paseo de Alamo, which means passageway to the Alamo. So if you go through the double doors on my left-hand side, you enter an atrium filled with gardens and waterfalls, leading you to the street level where you can see the Alamo. Also on the left here, the Blue Umbrellas is Jim Cohen's The Landing, and they're a popular jazz band here in town. So this is a great place to sit back, relax, and listen to some live jazz. On my right-hand side, we have this burnt orange colored building. This is the Casino Club building, and it was built in 1927 by a German social club during the Prohibition as a place where they could have their club meetings and offices. When they no longer needed the building, it became an apartment complex, and Alex Haley, the author of Roots, once lived in these apartments. It's still an apartment complex today, and now there's a restaurant that sits beneath it as well. And speaking of restaurants, if you notice that it started to smell kind of good, that's because we're driving right through River Square. This is where you'll find most of the restaurants here in the Riverwalk. You can find anything from Mexican food to Italian food, Southwestern steak, seafood, you name it, we got it. And I even heard that we had a 60-ounce margarita. Ooh, the trying to grab a spot because I'm not in the top 5 years. So, I mean, you could, but I wouldn't. Now my right-hand side, under the bridge, all the way up to the colorful umbrellas is Casa Rio Restaurant. They opened in 1946 and they were the first restaurant to offer riverside dining as well as their dinner boat. And they've been run by the same family for 4 generations, and that's the Lyons family. The Tower of America was the centerpiece for our World's Fair that was held here in 1968. At the very top, there's a rotating restaurant, so in 60 minutes, you get a 360-degree view of the city of San Antonio. There's also an observation deck at the top, a mini museum, as well as a coffee shop, so if you're brave enough to take the glass elevator ride 622 feet all the way to the top, then you have a lot to see when you get up there. Right now we're going into the man-made section of the Riverwalk. This is the only part that does have a concrete bottom. It's about 4.5 feet deep, and they built this channel here for the World's Fair because we needed a way to transport our 7 million friends and their friends, and it became so popular that, well, here you are on my boat today. Straight in front of us, we have 2 hotels that are standing side by side. These are both Marriott. The one on my right is the Marriott River Walk, and the one to my left is the Marriott River Center, which is attached to the River Center Mall. It was built in 1988, but before they could build this hotel, they had a hotel standing there. There's a Fairmont Hotel, which was built in 1905, standing right there where that Marriott stands today. Because of its historic value, it could not be torn down. So after 5 years of planning, they decided to move the hotel. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest building being moved on pneumatic tires, which means air-filled tires. Basically, they lifted up the 1,600-ton, 3-story brick Fairmont Hotel off the ground. They placed 36 truck axles and hundreds of tires beneath it, and they literally rolled the hotel down the street, moving at 6 blocks. Crossed over, moving at 0.042 miles an hour. Now we're going to be going underneath Market Street Bridge here. And this is the... Right now we're going into our convention center, which is named after Henry B. Gonzalez. He was the first Hispanic American elected to the House of Representatives in 1961. The convention center was used for the World's Fair of '68, and after adding over 1 million square feet of convention space, it has become one of the largest here in Texas. Also on my left-hand side, we have the Lila Cockerell Theater. This theater is named after Miss Lila Cockerell. She was our first and only female mayor. She served 3 consecutive terms in the 1980s and 1990s, and we've yet to have a female mayor since Miss Lila. If I wasn't trying to get my master's in archaeology, it would so be the next female mayor. Probably the first female president. But I prefer dirt over politics. Don't tell me it's the same thing. I so could hear you thinking that from over here. That is the most depressing thing ever. Hey, it's different kinds of dirt, right? That makes my heart. Now, folks, we're going to be taking a little stroll around this island here. Just a heads up, if you are on the left-hand side of the boat, you will be getting wet by the waterfall. So just make sure that you put all of your items underneath the seat, put them away so that they do not get destroyed. I'm just kidding, y'all. We're really not going under a waterfall. This is the only time of the year where that actually sounds good. No worries. You don't have to put your cameras away. I'm just teasing. Okay. But we are going on a little stroll around the island still. Now, if you're interested in visiting the Tower of America as it stands in the Hemisphere Park, the best way to get to the park is straight through here. You'll notice that the building in front of us has a breezeway beneath it, and if you follow that through to the other side, it puts you out right in the Hemisphere Park where you can visit the tower. And they've done a lot in the last couple of years to make it a great place to go. They have all kinds of historical monuments out there, extravagant waterfalls, none of which we will be going underneath. And it's a beautiful place which